going to press on with another favorite of the Wi-Fi Now organization, another gentleman who has been with us many times before, and his name is Tunchai Still. I'm still not sure I'm getting your last name pronounced properly, Tunchai. I apologize. I need to practice.
Almost there.
Almost there. But he is VP of Strategy at ASIA, and we've been seeing a lot of each other lately, Tunchai. It's great to have you back, by the way. I always enjoy it. So please join us and tell us what you've got.
Yeah, thank you, Klaus, for having me. So I prepared a short presentation to basically move through the couple of different ideas we've been exploring with the entire ecosystem. So I'd like to start with sharing those with you guys. We just to refresh our minds. So we did have a pre-launch event pretty recently on September 15, and during that event and afterwards we have published some research on the work from home market evolution. So some of the thoughts and numbers that I'm going to share here, I'm hoping it informs other companies, ecosystems decision making. And for a more detailed write-up and videos and all kinds of content and research, I would encourage everybody to get this information on EQUIPE.ai. But I will quickly go through a couple of different findings that seem to be important for this market. So I think everybody is following the work from home policy changes, especially from the larger companies first, then it went down to smaller companies. The bottom line is work from home is becoming the new normal, right? And a lot of companies are now talking about on-sites as opposed to off-sites. As you might remember, off-site meeting was the thing to do every quarter or every year. Was a big thing. So now looks like an on-site event is going to be a big deal. So not a lot of people will be working from home, working from office. They're going to be working from home, and maybe they're going to go to the office for an important event or gathering. So the last count is hundreds of companies are announced some kind of work from home policy, and this is becoming a big trend. What we've seen was all this work from home trend is actually a global trend. It's nothing new. It's not necessarily some invention of the COVID times. It was there beforehand. But what we're seeing is it's accelerated quite a bit. And it looks like in the higher income countries or segments of world population, there's much bigger and faster adoption, and we see about in this region we see about 1 billion people, about 400 million workers, and about 160 million total work from home employees, if you like. And so this corresponds to about 16% of the overall population in this geography. So this is huge. And we think this is going to form a stable basis for the work from home trend going forward. So it also is clear that no matter what the carriers are trying to do, or the enterprises or the vendors, there is a significant connectivity issue at home, and this is disrupting the work. So in the last 6 months or so, what we've seen was even with the relatively higher grade connectivity services or the equipment, more than half the population experienced some kind of connectivity failure at least once a month. And about 15% of the population is experiencing connectivity-related disruptions almost on a daily basis. And about 8% is experiencing these disruptions severely, so much that it affects their productivity. So the bottom line is these are huge numbers. So we definitely need a different approach to the infrastructure, work from home infrastructure. So in all of this information and more in depth is on our website. I'm happy to share even more detailed research papers. We're publishing them as we speak on our website and also on YouTube. But the second cluster of thoughts I'd like to explore, if you like, is how does this new trend in the workplace, well, now it's home, affecting the value chain for the services to be delivered. So we've heard a lot about this phrase, enterpriseization of the home. It looks like really the roles of the participants are changing significantly. So essentially, although there are many players, it essentially boils down to three different entities consuming or delivering or mediating these services. So we would like to focus on the employee first. So that's where the work is done. So it's as simple as the ability to just focus on work, which actually has never been the norm for a residential internet user. The residential internet user has been the one who has to actually deal with the ISP or the retail hardware vendors, make the home connection stable, make sure that there's connectivity to business applications. So just focusing on work actually has never been employees' role in this connectivity chain. So now we see that needs to change for many reasons. So, and employers. So employers typically have not ventured into providing support into the teleworkers' residence, teleworkers' home. So it looks like what we have experienced in the last 5-6 years about ISPs embracing Wi-Fi as part of their role and providing Wi-Fi as part of their role and responsibility. Employers are now embracing the fact that they are responsible for providing the tools, providing the connectivity to the residences so that they can make teleworkers productive. So I think this is another huge role change. We haven't seen this kind of thing before. And also we just start hearing about ISPs that they also start appreciating the complexity of breaking the old silos of residential and business. So they do understand that they need to fulfill the employer's IT needs for the teleworkers, right? So this is also a new realm because ISPs they know really well how to service the residential customer and also the business segment. But in this new normal, there is a hybrid role. There's a different set of needs. So this is quite new. And ISPs are also trying to formulate their new role. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of change and significant chaos, if you like, in who's responsible for what needs to be delivered, how is the productivity is going to be realized. So we are just going through this big transformation at the moment. So going back to the employee, the critical thing about working from home is, of course, being productive, but also making sure that the company policies on IT use is also followed, right? So it's also not an easy thing to do that because home is a hybrid environment. You have your personal life and work. So it's not that easy to follow these rules and policies without the necessary infrastructure. And some of the security issues, some of the data compliance issues actually make it even harder, right? So the employee, for that reason, is also in quite a bit of a debacle, if you like, to mediate between these two hybrid roles, right? So we have to find a way to make it easy for the employee to use the benefits, these new connectivity benefits for work, just for the business purpose. So And the employers also are realizing that in order to make this whole new experience work, they need to embrace the fact that they may be paying for the work-related IT expenses of the teleworker in its own residence, because this makes everything much easier and under employers' control. So that's also a huge change in the way we look at home and work. And ISPs also realized that just offering a business-grade line connectivity as a marketing package doesn't necessarily resolve the outstanding issues. So there has to be acknowledgement and resolution to the enterprise-grade connectivity needs. So maybe the ISPs are also embracing this change in the home and work environment. So the other interesting thing that we're projecting is we're going to be seeing a lot of automation in terms of how the services are delivered, and it's essentially going to the less we interact with as workers or as employers or as part of ISP organization, the less we rely on manual intervention to the service delivery or support, the more we will see the adoption of these services and the higher productivity. So these roles and responsibilities have not been really present before. So this also forces some kind of value chain transformation, if you like. And the most important thing is essentially for the ISPs, new revenue sources, right? New revenue generation, because ISPs really know the residential and business markets well separately, and they maximize their income and profits already. Very capable teams and systems. However, in this new normal, there is now an opportunity to add new customers, extend the revenue base, also do upsells and cross-sells, which we think is going to amount to somewhere around $30 to $300 per month new revenue, depending on which segment is addressed. And for the employers, delivering work-related connectivity and providing proper support to teleworkers would get them anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 per year productivity gains. And for the ecosystem, including the hardware, software, and service business app components, there has to be a redesign of these offers, right? So a lot of these things still reside in the business or home used or consumer silos. There has to be rationalization of these offerings. And the reward for that is 150 or more millions of high-income teleworkers ready to be serviced with high profit and high revenue services. So overall, there's a lot of change coming. There's a lot of chaos, but there's also a huge opportunity that we see. I would like to briefly talk about the EQUIPE platform. We did cover this in our launch event. So all the information and the presentations is now available on Wi-Fi Now website, also on our site. So essentially, EQUIPE is our new connectivity platform for the SMB and enterprise market. And this provides, this delivers the services needed for work from home. So since this launch event, which has been about a week or so, or 10 days, we've been bombarded by requests, partnership requests, and carriers meeting requests. Apparently, everybody's, at least in our ecosystem, thinking about how better serve this emerging market. So we're pretty happy about the attention. We're going to be also announcing 4 very large partnership deals soon as we start deploying these services. So please stay tuned. So I'd like to try to introduce the entire platform with a short video.
To work from home as a productive team without connectivity issues, with peace of mind. Introducing EQUIPE. Higher worker productivity, better connected remote teams. Because one bad connection means a decrease in productivity for the entire organization. EQUIPE brings visibility and reliability to essential collaborative business applications. The industry's first enterprise and SMB IT tool for managing residential connections. The platform seamlessly pre-integrates with an ecosystem of ISPs, enterprise tools, and applications. The new normal starts with a strong connection. Learn how you can be a part of the EQUIPE ecosystem.
We have several different videos now available, focusing on different topics, including the entire event video. So you don't need to take notes, or if you want to have reference back to something more documented in terms of blogs or videos, all of this information is now available. So and if you have further questions, there is a way to get in touch with this with the company. So I would quickly touch upon the key benefits and the features of the platform. Essentially, this new platform provides visibility and control for the residential connectivity in the IT enterprise admin environment, right? So this is one of the innovations that we deliver, and we try to automate service delivery and try to deliver it to the teleworkers who need the most at the time they need. So to be able to do that, we need to be able to understand where the bottlenecks are, who gets the most benefit, and of course related to the IT budget. So our secret sauce in this whole game is essentially just that, to be able to intelligently figure out who needs the service and how to deliver it automatically. So that's a big change from what we have today, because essentially a residential worker, when having problem with the connectivity, the person has to call an ISP and wait on the line for 20-25 minutes. Just hear that due to high volume created by the COVID, we will call you back, or your wait time is over half an hour. So we try to basically solve this issue, right? So we try to eliminate all these friction points for work. As I mentioned, our secret sauce is to understand the QoE associated with the applications and connectivity and deliver the service to whom needs the most. So this module is called WorkPut. And we build our services on top of this AI platform. There's also the multi-WAN and Wi-Fi management capabilities, which we're going to cover in a bit. But these kind of applications we've been doing for about 10 years. We have many different solutions for this. We basically had to repurpose these capabilities and offer a meaningful multi-WAN and Wi-Fi solution in the home. And of course, we also have the ecosystem integration and support options. This enables visibility into not only the network, but how the applications consume. For example, when you're on when you're on Zoom or Meet, you'll be able to essentially, as an IT administrator, you'll be able to see who is having what problems, what are the general network-wide issues, and the prescriptions for resolution. And in most cases, we also automate the solution. So just to touch on the super high-level architecture, essentially we recognize that certain devices in the home is being used more as telework devices than others. So it starts with the focus on the telework devices, right? So we try to compartmentalize this business use on business devices as much as possible. And in cases where there's hybrid use, we try to contain the business related use as much as possible. And we offer certified, EQUIPE certified hardware options. We're going to touch on them soon. And with these devices, we have the necessary control and visibility to deliver the right experience to these telework devices. And of course, on the network level, we believe that the needs of the business use is a lot less about how many gigabits you deliver to your home, but it's more about just having stable, reliable connection to do your work. And in most cases, for example, for telework, let's say a Zoom call or a Meet call or etc., you really, if you have solid 1 to 3 megabit per second connection, in most cases you're good to go. In some higher end use cases where you have to do file uploads, there may be some more bigger pipe need, but the biggest need is actually stable, reliable internet. So, and unfortunately, neither Wi-Fi nor the broadband services deliver such reliability today. To facilitate that, we provide several options. Some of them are failover to a second line, or bandwidth aggregation through higher end SD-WAN options, etc. So one way or another, there has to be a second line that's going to be providing this kind of stability. And on the Wi-Fi, also the optimization schemes necessary for business use is a little different. Again, because when we make the objective to deliver stable, reliable connectivity to the telework devices, the way home Wi-Fi managed has to be different, right? So for example, how we deal with a mesh topology, or how we steer in or steer out devices from certain segments of the connection. So these all change because objective function changes. So, and we have to do all of this in a hybrid environment. So we are not suggesting we take enterprise networking equipment and then put it in the home and just run in branch office. Although we're going to have higher end offerings like that through our partners, that's not what we're trying to do. We would like this solution to be low cost enough to cover as many people as possible, at least on the low to mid end. And all of these services will be bundled with necessary support, especially 24 on-demand support, IT support, and if necessary, technician dispatch needs. So these will also be paid for by the employer, so that the teleworker, when they need some support for their home connectivity needs, they actually have an easy place to go. So just a bit about the home hardware options. So this is an area where I'm not going to be able to get into too much detail, because we're working with 4 different partners, and we're at the verge of announcements. We've been developing some solutions, but at a very high level, I can show the types of boxes, or at least the category of boxes we're going to offer. So this hardware actually goes in the home. This is the employee hardware, and on the lower end, the idea is to bring the bare minimum WAN reliability. So maybe a failover option using a wireless connection. So this is not necessarily an always on unlimited data use wireless connection. This is more about the intelligently managed failover connection that's going to provide the necessary reliability in case of the main connection goes down. So this approach is going to get the cost of the service down to a level where a lot more people can actually be covered, right? So that's the solo end. On the mid end, we're going to add the Wi-Fi 6 functionality with a mesh option. And this is essentially going to be offered in a single or a separate box option depending on the installation needs of the particular house. And again, the idea here is to be able to compartmentalize the Wi-Fi consumption for business use. And on the higher end, through our partnerships, which we will be able to announce soon, we are bringing in higher end capability hardware portfolio, and these will have essentially much more capable boxes that will bring SD-WAN, VPN acceleration, some special security functions, as well as Wi-Fi 6 and LTE 4G modems. So as we covered the hardware options, as I said, these are the boxes that's going to enable the service in the home. And for the employers, we would, at least on the low to mid end, we would like to avoid new hardware sales to the employer. So this complicates the installations and makes the initial setup much harder than it's supposed to be. So we try to do no hardware initial engagement with the employers. And on the ISPs, we basically offer a new lineup of these hardware to ISPs, to our partnerships, so that ISPs can actually deliver all these options to the employers. And on the software side, for the employees, we will have mobile and web app capabilities to ease onboarding of different services, and also a self-help functionality when help is needed. And for the employer, we have a pretty advanced IT admin user experience delivered through a web browser, all done on the cloud, on the back end. So there's nothing to install, nothing to go through complicated IT approval process. So initially, it's all going to reside on AWS. We may offer other cloud options based on request. But the initial customer requests were mostly aligned with AWS. So this is why we're going to market with AWS. And for the ISPs, we will provide the same functionality and more global reporting functions that the employer IT administrator sees. On the services side, employees will see both wireless and wireline connectivity services. Of course, these are delivered through the ISPs. There's also going to be embedded support, and this is going to be essentially on demand, immediately available 24/7 support, and on-call technician dispatch type of functionality. And for the employers, a lot of the existing IT enterprise functionality, including security, VPN, some of the communication applications, also the in-home WAN and Wi-Fi service, as if you are using the corporate network. So these are all integrated over the cloud and delivered as a service. And for the ISPs that we work with, there's going to be, we're going to be integrating our platform, the EQUIPE platform, with their BSS and OSS systems, and enable over-the-air delivery of a lot of these services, and automate delivery of a lot of these broadband internet service upgrades or activation of new services through this integration. So this is the heavy lifting that we have to do with the ISPs. So I'd like to take a stop here and thank you all. Thank you, Klaus, for listening to us. As I mentioned, we have a lot of research content coming up. Even if you don't become a customer to us or a partner, we would like to enable this new trend. We published a lot of research. So you can have access to all of that on our website, equipe.ai. You can also see some of the educational videos on our YouTube channel. So you can take it over,
Tunçay.
Klaus.
Yeah, thank you, Tunçay. Thank you so much. Yeah, please. Exactly. I was just going to ask you for that. Thank you so much, and great to see you again. And we did do this pre-launch event together, and as you said, the video is available at your website and also with Alred's website, where, among other things, your CTO, I believe it is, actually goes through a substantial parts of the functionality and actually shows how that works. And that's also
Yes.
very educational to see how that works.
Yes.
I congratulate you, sir, on this enormous piece of work, and beautifully designed and beautifully thought out. And it really is transformational. And as far as I know, and you can confirm this or not, I've not seen anything like this as yet from anyone else. So you're all alone in this new category. Is that true?
Thank you, Klaus. I do have, I wish we were
Okay.
gonna stay alone, but I already know that some of the companies already start looking into this area. We will definitely have competition in many different ways. This is a huge market. It's definitely gonna be a big battle. I think we're maybe 6 months to a year ahead of a lot of the competition. So we welcome the competition because this is a market we need to create. I mean, if you remember 5 years ago, right, we were still trying to convince the industry that Wi-Fi is an important thing and everybody should have Wi-Fi. So now people forget about that, right? And during that time, a lot of new competition emerged way after we started. I mean, essentially, I started this work about 10 years ago and nobody was listening. And I think we made a lot of headway in managed Wi-Fi in the residential world. I think the same thing is going to happen here. And the teleworker needs are going to get addressed by a huge emerging new vendor ecosystem. And we hope to essentially be part of the pioneers in that. So we welcome competition.
All right, very good. And it's business critical now. I mean, let's face it, that's really what it is. And this is why this new category essentially has been created with yourselves as pioneers. It's fantastic. We have a question from Dean Bubbly. He asks, can EQUIPE or EQUIPE federate across several ISPs? So presumably not all employees use the same ISP. Do you have an answer to how that is managed?
Yeah, this is an excellent question. The answer is yes. And it's not just yes, it has to be, because that's the, as you can appreciate, the company may have different employees in different service provider regions, or one service provider may not have, like a quad play type of a bundle. So there's a lot of mix and match that has to happen. But I think there's room for every ISP, every hardware vendor. And the only way to expand the existing market is through federation, right?
Exactly. Very good. Tunçay, it's great to see you. And once again, congratulations. Fantastic product. It's something to behold. I recommend that everybody go have a look at this. You've not seen this before, and it's exceptional. So thanks once again. And please come back and join us again. And hopefully at some point also in person, right? Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Klaus.
Learn how you can be a part of the EQUIPE ecosystem. New normal starts with a strong connection.